Okay, welcome everybody to the Google for Education Certified Innovator program panel and Q&A. We're really excited to have you all join us today. And we're excited to be joined by some panelists and current innovators and program managers with us today as well. Thanks for coming. Just a little bit of background before we get started. If you're wondering what you've signed up for and what you're watching today, we are talking about the current Google for Education Certified Innovator Program application for the London 17, hashtag Lund 17 application. They are open and due March 6th, and today we're going to talk all about the application, what's required, including the vision deck, video, level 2 certification, and of course coming out to Google London on April 19th through 21st. So that's what we're here for today, everybody. Just a quick primer. Please join us throughout this panel at certifiedinnovators.com. That's your home base. It's where the application is. A lot of this information we're going to talk about today is located on that website. So feel free to toggle back and forth between this YouTube live page, the chat, and the application page itself. Here's our brief agenda for today. We invite you to join the back channel if you're watching on the YouTube live page. We're going to meet the panel, talk about why apply for this cohort, look a little bit at prerequisites. What do you need to be ready to become a Google for Education Certified Innovator? Answer any questions about the short answers you might have on the application. Dive into your vision, which is the biggest part of the application and the year-long program. And then look at your questions and look to our panel for some answers. Thank you all for submitting some really great questions in the RSVP form. And then finally, just any application strategies we have from either you folks or our innovators here on the panel. So hopefully that all sounds good, everybody. The archive will be available right here on this YouTube page. So if you need to hop out or if you want to watch this later or share with a colleague, it's here for you. Finally, everyone, come say hi. It's super active in the back channel right now. So great to see folks from all over the world today. We got Portugal, Sheffield, UK, Massachusetts, South Mississippi, Leeds, England. So all over. Singapore. Thanks for coming, Matt. Southern California. So go ahead and hop in, and our innovators on the panel, feel free to hop in as well and share where you're from, maybe what your job role is right now, if you're a classroom teacher or an administrator, an instructional coach, whatever that might be. Feel free to say hi and feel free to connect. Hopefully this is the beginning of connecting with other innovators in your own community, online, and Google for Education Certified Innovators right here on our panel, because community is such a big part of this program for sure. Awesome. Hey, everyone. Great. And with that, I'd love to introduce Becky Evans from Google for Education, coming live from London right now to say a few brief words about the program. Becky's been around for many years with this program. So Becky, we'd love to hear your welcome.
Hey everyone, I didn't realize that I was getting a whole slide. It makes it and I was expecting, but I just wanted to welcome you guys to the live panel. I'm excited for you guys to hear from innovators who are already in the program and to connect with you guys as you think about what challenge you hope to solve and what you hope to inspire other educators to do once you're in this program. So I just wanted to just say a quick word of encouragement that the work that you guys do day in and day out is super important to Google. We're really, really interested in how you guys create and share transformative ways to use not just Google technology, but any technology in schools and classrooms around the globe. And as a part of the program, you can look forward to being able to provide meaningful feedback back to our Google product teams and our project teams. And we hope that you will become, the voice of Google for Education in your larger educational communities. So if you haven't thought of, a vision yet, or you're not sure where to go, just know that these challenges can be found at either the classroom or the school level. So addressing things like technology or school culture or curriculum, or we're looking for people who are also interested in tackling more systemic changes like around equity and access. So, whatever the issue is, big or small, we look forward to working with you to help, figure out how we, continue to move forward the field of education. So thanks again for joining. And yeah, I'll stick around to answer any questions that you may have.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Becky, for joining us, and thanks for sharing some encouraging words. I think that's the biggest thing about you coming today, everyone, is doing it, right? Jumping in there, taking an idea that you have and being brave enough to submit it and change it and work on it. We really hope that's why you're here today, and keep at it. Thanks, Becky. Cool. Let's keep going. Just a quick question that we had right off the bat was, do you have to be in the UK to participate? And the great news is, check out our innovators from all over the world. Donnie's joining us from Kentucky. We have Sandra in Toronto, Andrew here from the UK, Becky in the UK. So you do not have to be currently in the UK to apply, although we certainly encourage folks from the UK to apply, because we're in your hood. But please join this global community. But you do have to come to London and find your way there. And we have some strategies later on, perhaps from the innovators who've joined us, how you make that work. But you are entering a global community, and to answer Sarah's question, you can be from anywhere, for sure. Cool. Let's meet those great global panelists that are joining us today. So maybe I'll start with Sandra, then Donnie, and Andrew. But if you could just share your name, your cohort that you became an innovator at. And we had a question from Mark S., who RSVP'd. If you could choose a movie to describe your own innovator learning experience, what would it be and why? So on the spot, Sandra joining us, looks like in the classroom there today.
No, this is actually TVO. It's our public broadcast company in Ontario, Canada, and this is my cubicle.
Well, it's always good when your office area looks like a learning environment. So.
My name is Sandra Chow. I'm from MTV 14 from Toronto, Canada. And I've had the fortune to be with other cohorts as well in MTV 16 as well as Tour 16. And I would choose a movie to describe my innovator experience. I kind of have to go with Back to the Future, kind of lots of ups and downs, a lot of adventures, kind of looking into opportunities of where I wanted to go, and I kind of see me living out these adventures day in and day out as I'm part of helping with activities like this and in learning about great projects that are going on in education through the Innovator Academy. So yeah, I'm really, really excited to see how new projects come to fruition through the Innovation Academy. I'm just always so excited to see how we can learn from each other.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Sandra. And Sandra has also been a coach in helping innovators in their projects. So that's one of the great benefits is once you get into the program, you get paired with a coach and a mentor to help you through that. So thanks, Sandra, for all your support with that. Awesome. Donnie is taking a break from the Oregon Trail today in his classroom in Kentucky. Thanks for joining us, Donnie.
No worries. I actually got my Oregon Trail shirt on today. But hello, everybody. My name is Donnie Piercy. I am a 5th grade teacher from Eminence, Kentucky. I also work here as the District Technology Integration Specialist. I was part of the Sydney 2013 cohort back when it was known as the Google Teacher Academy. So, there's that question from the start, like, do you have to be from the UK to attend? Absolutely not. For those of you that are outside the country, like taking advantage of the time to travel and not only to see maybe a new city that you've never seen before, but to meet other educators, like-minded educators from around the world is really cool. So I have to pick a movie that describes my Innovator learning experience. All right. So my all-time favorite movie is Jurassic Park, right? I saw it 7 times in the theater when it came out. The thing I loved about it when it came out was it had that adventure feel to it, and it was unlike anything I had ever seen before. And that's kind of what being a part of this network of educators is like. We all know we're all teachers. We all know that we're all educators, but the experience itself, yes, it's amazing. Probably a lot of you, if you're sitting in and watching us live on YouTube right now, you've probably heard a lot about how amazing it is, but just being able to see and learn some of the awesome things that teachers around the world are doing, it was incredible.
Awesome. Thanks, Donnie. And I imagine you start your first day of 5th grade saying, "Welcome to 5th grade."
Sure. I'll do that next year. That sounds good.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. All right, cool. Let's go into any other benefits about being a Google for Education certified innovator. There's many, but you do get 12 months of support toward completing your project. You do get the certified innovator badge and pin, visibility in the Google for Education directory, which is really great. If you go there now, you can see all different innovators, obviously certified trainers and other programs in the Google for Education sphere. And you get to be part of this great online community of innovators and exclusive looks at Google for Education launches and participation in that, as Becky mentioned in the beginning. So panels, we're gonna jump into prerequisites. Before you even apply, think about what do you need to be ready to become an innovator. And part of that is being ready with this application. So here's a few key dates. We close on March 6th. So now's a perfect time to be thinking about it and thinking about getting everything ready. And then you'll be notified March 13th, and your virtual learning and community begins March 20th. And come to London with us April 19th through 21st, and then you have a year to submit your innovation project. So a lot of questions came in around what should my project be, what makes a great project, and hopefully you'll see when we look at a couple of examples, they're all very, very different, but they all are certainly rooted in passion and rooted in what all the innovators are doing at their school site or in their community. So you'll have plenty of time to work on that and have a final submission of your innovation project. And so we do have a requirement of level 2 certification, and I'll ask our panelists in a moment to share any tips, but in the back channel, feel free to share if you've started that journey yet of level 1 certification or level 2. Are you currently in the Google for Education training center where you can go through those units and have some interactive hands-on practice? So feel free to drop in the back channel any tips that you've had going through that and getting prepared. I know that what's really wonderful about that is when folks come to the Academy, they're already pretty well versed in integrating some of these tools into their practice. Sandra or Donnie, do you have any other, after getting level 2 certified, any other good reasons for jumping in and getting certified or tips for the process?
I'll take a go at it. For me, I love inquiry, and I know in many of our practices we have our students do inquiries, but for a teacher, I think it's just as important to be inquiring and figuring out what's good pedagogy, what works for our students, what can I do to make education better. And so think of this opportunity as a way that when you're going to the Innovation Academy, you have an opportunity to actually work on a project and have support, mentors, people who can guide you and who can give you ideas, you can bounce ideas off of. But then there's also this big Google support in terms of technical support to help you through that process as well. And so not only are you inquiring, but and making education better, but you've got the support system to help you through that. So when you're applying, I would think of your project and always start with a problem that you're facing in education, and how can you make it better? And that's what this Innovation Academy is about, is how we can make that a better experience in education for all. And then in terms of your application, be yourself, share about who you are, make it so that we can really get to know who you are, your creativity, your ideas, because I think that helps us to know who's applying, and who the essence of you is.
Awesome. Thanks, Sandra. And sorry, folks watching on YouTube, hopefully you should see the slide deck now, but we're looking at the application and the level 2 certification. Andrew, I saw you pop in. So before we lose you again, Andrew, did you want to share, our last question was your cohort, what you're doing now, and maybe a movie that describes your own Innovator cohort experience. Are you there, Andrew, to share?
Yeah, hopefully you can hear me all right.
Yeah, perfect.
Looks like I haven't avoided the movie question, because I still can't think of an answer. I'm Andrew Caffrey, and I was from, I went to Mountain View 16. So a year ago, I went through the Innovation Academy out at Mountain View. But obviously, as you can tell from my voice, I'm actually from the UK. So I have the experience, I suppose, of both sides of that. Just picking up on what it meant for me, I think it was a real, the ability to work with a range of people from around the world was really important. And actually, one of the great things about the Innovator Academy is that mixture of people we get there. So I think that's a really positive thing. And hopefully, it would be nice also at the same time to have some more innovators from the UK join. And I'm hoping that the opportunity of it being in London will mean more of them will move forward. So, I mean, for me, it's really hard to pick a movie that describes the intensity of the 3 days. It was in June. And certainly made me think a lot about my own practice, both in the classroom and outside, and stretched in that respect. And I think if you're thinking about applying, it's definitely well worth the effort. The application form seems hard at times, and yes, you have to go and make the video, but actually it's well worth the reward of getting to attend.
Awesome, Andrew, and it is the 3rd academy in the UK, so it's really awesome to continue to build networks and communities around the world, but also to get some great focus, and for folks who live in the different regions, have that network of people there. So thanks, Andrew, and we're going to hold you to that intense movie. So we're all wondering, what is this intense movie that's capturing the energy of 3 days for you? So keep thinking, and thanks for patching in. I will jump over to Les Macbeth before we move on to our next panelist question. But thanks for joining us, Les, from Toronto. We were sharing your name, what you're up to now, and maybe a movie that describes your Innovator Academy experience.
Okay, so my name is Leslie Macbeth, and I am currently the Director of Professional Development at Future Design School. My Innovator project was to bring design thinking to more teachers as a tool for building project-based learning in the classroom and student-directed learning. I was really fortunate that my project turned into a full-time job, so I left the classroom and I'm now working full-time on this project of teaching teachers about how to use design thinking frameworks to empower their students to solve big problems. And a movie that describes my Innovator project. I cannot think of any movies right now.
Or your time in the program.
My time in the program.
And we can take it at the end too. We're giving Andrew a pass, but that was a tough question from Mark S, who's watching.
Yeah.
So
all I can think of is like an action-packed movie, like one of the Bourne movies, where you're kind of like running around like a crazy person most of the time, trying to solve some big problem or some big mystery, and you don't really know where it's going to go. But there's all these exciting twists and turns, and then that you're actually like a government spy or something.
I love it. Thanks, Leslie. Cool. We'll keep going along.
Life at Google as well, minus the government spy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does emulate. I think your few days at the Google office, you get definitely a taste of life as as a Googler, as Becky might say, but also really intense, right? It's only 3 days of face-to-face, and the rest is working together online for your project. So all of these are really great examples of capturing that spirit for sure. Cool. Thanks, panelists. Let's some great stuff coming on in the back channel. So welcome. Thanks for joining us. We have some other innovators joining us in the back channel as well, like James Allen. Great. Thanks for joining, everybody. Okay, I'm on the slide deck. Let's go into our next question we have for everyone, which is from Moses S. So looking at those prerequisites and getting your level 2 certification and also preparing your vision, which we'll dive into here in a moment. Does anyone on the panel care to tackle how do you manage it, right? Not only the application to get certified, but a lot of folks are current classroom teachers, or maybe they're part-time, or all sorts of different situations. Anyone have tips for how you manage it all, plus family, plus life?
I was going to say, and add into this one, I think it's to be really clear with your school from the outset that this is a 12-month program. So it's not just about the days you go down to Google, but you're going to need some time to put into action some of the ideas you've got and ultimately deliver the vision. And I think a lot of schools will buy into that if the vision fits with what you're doing as part of your job role. To fit is well worth the effort.
Awesome, great insight, Andrew, for sure. Any other time management ideas from the panelists on how you make it all work?
I mean, it's definitely a time commitment for the process. But what I've found is, like, especially like the video is usually the thing that's kind of the hang up. Like, people will get through the application, they'll answer the questions, and they'll come to that video that they'll just kind of stall at that point. Oh, I don't have time for this. What I've found, like through my application video and through talking to several others who put one together, a successful one together, a lot of times in those videos, they're really just showing clips of creative stuff that they're already doing in their classrooms with their students, or they're showcasing some things that their districts, or maybe stuff that they're doing statewide. So yeah, it is a little bit of a extra amount of time that you have to put in, but as educators, especially those that typically want to kind of be a part of this program, a lot of us are already doing hundreds of creative and innovative things, that it's just taking the time to sit down and like film it and to share it. It's a little bit more work, but in the end, it is definitely worth it. It's really cool.
I also find that if you do it with somebody else, for example, if you know another person in your district or in your city even, or other people online who are also applying, it's helpful to have that buddy system going where you're both applying and you're looking at each other's videos, looking at each other's applications, giving feedback, or especially if you know somebody who is already an innovator and connecting with them to give you feedback on your application. That helps to make the process a lot easier.
Thanks, Sandra. Really great tips. And I'm looking at the back channel, and Casey's mentioned, set deadlines and keep yourself to those goals. And certainly having a colleague or a friend there to help you with that is really motivating, as well as, getting feedback on it. Looks like Nigel's asked, are animations okay? And there's certainly no technical requirements for the video other than, ensuring it's viewable and audio is okay and everything, but really that creative piece is up to you on how you want to display your vision. So sharing that with somebody to get feedback is always a great idea and recommendation before you submit it, for sure. And yes, being creative. Thanks, Sandra. And Amanda says working with your buddy system for sure is having that buddy is so important. Cool. Let's keep moving on to the next part of our panel. I think we already shared some tips and tricks for level 2. So if you have any other questions in the back channel about prerequisites, please feel free to share in the back channel. And of course, you can always reach out to the program. It's info@certifiedinnovators.com as well after today. Okay, and another strategy that can help you, there is a doc that is provided in the application. And so we encourage folks to open that now even and start gathering your ideas. You know, as Donnie mentioned, you all are doing so much great stuff already. So jotting that down and putting it down on paper is super helpful. So that's there for you. You just make a copy of that template and you can start to get your short answer ideas and start to formulate that vision that you have. So speaking of, the largest part of your application is your vision, and starting with that vision and what do you have that you're working on that you might want to submit to transform education. And there is the innovation project principles that are in the application, but mainly it's having a mission that matters, thinking big but starting small, iterating and failing fast, share everything, and spark with imagination and fuel with data. Those are just a few things that are at the cornerstone of Google for Education's innovation, and a lot of the projects that come out of the program for sure. I'd love to hear maybe from the panel is of any of these principles, do any seem to resonate with your project or with an innovator that you've worked with? What's something important to think about with these principles as our applicants here on the chat are starting to think about what theirs might look like? Does anyone from the panel want to share?
I think that the idea of iterating and failing fast, and also sort of thinking big but starting small, are two really important steps. I think that I changed my mind about my Innovator project about 20 times during the process of even the first 3 days. So I came in with an idea that I thought I wanted to do, and then I went down this path of looking at doing something else, and then ended up coming back around to where I'd started. But it was all, I think, that process of thinking about lots of ideas and iterating and constantly changing what I was doing allowed me to get to a place that really felt right. But it was about sort of thinking about like really big picture, but then narrowing it down to like, what is my first step and what's the small thing that I can try, and not being afraid to try something and have it not work and have to change your mind. And I think a lot of the other innovators in my cohort experience that, where they change their projects from what they came in with. I know like Kim Polishuk, who was in our group, came in with one idea and left with a completely different idea. But being open to changing based on what you feel really matters and it's going to go is really important.
Awesome. Thanks, Les, for sharing that. A few people are asking in the chat right now, is the program more interested in projects that are in the idea stage or a project that you've already started? And I think if we hear from the panelists, their own ideas were along that spectrum, right? It could be something that that you're just kicking off, or that you have an idea that is starting to form with your experience. So I think my suggestion would be going with that, and it doesn't need to be something that's already fully established, but it certainly could be. And I know Andrew's not on the call, but he had already started tinkering with an add-on and was starting to see what that looked like in implementation. But it may be something that you've been thinking about based on your experience in your schools. Does anyone on the panel have any other ideas about that spectrum, from kind of an inkling of an idea that might work versus something you've already been trying and working on, and would love to give it more time and support?
I think you're spot on, Wendy, with, the projects can definitely fall along the spectrum. We don't want you coming in so married to your project that you don't leave room to iterate and fail and to try again and to incorporate new ideas into it. But if you have something that's pretty fleshed out, totally fine. If it's, if you just have a general concept that you want to work on, that's totally fine as well. We hope that we'll be able to provide you with enough, sparks throughout the program to help you begin to formulate that into a project project that either can be replicated by other educators or something that can be joined in by other educators as well.
Thanks, Becky, for sharing that insight. And as Les mentioned, as well, being open to pivoting and changing, because when you do get to the academy, you may be inspired by someone who speaks, or you may collaborate with someone, and your direction completely changes. So as you're starting to write down that vision and articulate it, I think, as Donnie mentioned, just as you're making your video, going for it and seeing what you're already doing and being open to change, for sure, are all great things. Awesome.
And then another thing I was thinking about is sometimes we think of our projects standing out only if the idea itself stands out, but I think there's been situations where the idea might seem like it's been done before, but because of the context and because of the situation that the person might be in, it becomes so innovative because you're solving a problem in a different way, and you're looking at the context, and the problem itself is so much bigger because of the context that you might be in. So it might be something like how to make professional development better in my school, but because of the context that you're in, maybe you're in a remote situation, or maybe you're in a situation that has many language barriers, then your solution has to be a lot different, and your project's going to look a lot different, and that's what makes your project more unique. So the uniqueness doesn't have to come from the project itself.
Thanks, Sandra. And I think Donnie's tip of, being unique and trying to think of a new way of solving something that might be at your school, or your situation might be very unique. We have an innovator from our Colorado cohort this year, Mike Filippetti, who was working on a technical solution, such as a keyboard in Chrome that could enable different languages that weren't currently available. So to answer Teresa's question in the chat, do we worry about if there's a program available, if we have an app idea? And I think if you have an idea, the resources in the network, you can think about those ways to get the right resources. So your solution maybe doesn't have to be something that you technically could do, but you could certainly get connected or paired with someone that might be able to work on that with you, for sure. And if you can't, then maybe maybe it shifts, right? Or you adjust what you have. But great question, Teresa. I think don't let your own technical abilities come in the way of if you have a good solution or a unique idea that you're thinking about. Cool. Let's look at a couple other questions that we have. And what Sandra's mentioning here, guys, we just wanted to share what the program looks like in terms of your support, and in terms of what Teresa's asking a bit about, what kinds of support can we have if we have, something like a technical solution we're looking at. But you have someone like Sandra who might be your coach. So in London or face-to-face where you will be, you'll have teams and a coach that's there to guide you through those 3 days. And you're coming with your vision. So, that idea that you have. And then you'll have a mentor that you get paired up with based on your project, right? So you'll get a chance to look through our mentor database of current innovators that want to help and give support to innovators throughout the year. And you have program managers who will be helping you online and in the community and keeping your project going along. And then you have the community. I have a screenshot there of I think that's a Mountain View chat, but all of those chats and micro communities from each cohort are so supportive. And I think we were just saying happy birthday to Sandra here because of that chat and because of that network in there. So if you don't have the right person to support you in the project, one of these people most certainly will to keep your project going or to pivot or get it going in the right way. And speaking of mentors, it looks like Jeffrey just popped on. Hey, Jeffrey, how's it going? Where are you calling us in from?
Good, Wendy. I'm at a school here in Ottawa. I'm working with a bunch of fourth graders doing some coding today with Dot and Dash and Blockly coding and little Ozobot action and some VR. So I'm glad to be here. Sorry for being late.
Awesome. Oh, no worries. Thanks for coming in. We are just, we're chiming in the back channel right now with innovators thinking about their vision, and we're sharing a bit about the mentor program and how coaches work with innovators. We'd love to hear just briefly maybe your experience as a mentor, and maybe how you've helped your innovator with their vision, and any tips you might have for these guys.
Yeah, I think probably it's been discussed, but I think the big thing is just don't be married to one individual project. And when you go to the program, because I think it changes so much, even from day to day, you just kind of have to be fluid with it and have kind of a vision, but be open to suggestions and changes. And I think as far as support, there's such a great network of people to support your project, either locally, just small scale at your school, and moving it more globally as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeffrey. Cool. So if you have any questions about that setup and your support network as part of being an innovator, drop those in the back channel as well. But let's dig a little bit more into the vision, which is a slide deck and a video, as we mentioned, and taking that idea and articulating it. And this is from Colorado. This is a great sketch note of the design thinking process that you go through. And I don't know if Les, if you have a second to maybe share. Les has been, as a coach and an innovator, helping with this design thinking process of moving from an idea to implementation, right? And how that might iterate throughout the year. Did you want to share a little bit with innovators? Right now we're looking at the very, very first stage of this, which is discovery, right? And looking at what's currently happening in your school, in your community. And did you want to share a bit about what that might look like throughout the year?
Sure. So I think that the important part at the beginning, when you're thinking about what your project is going to be, is thinking about who is going to be the user of your project, and what is their problem, or what is their unmet need when it comes to the area that you're focusing on, whether it's technology or programming or curriculum. But just thinking about who is that person that you're imagining will be, and what problem are they experiencing, and really trying to understand that problem from their point of view is sort of the first piece of really coming up with, I think, a project that will have the most impact. Because if you can solve that problem for that person, chances are there's other people that are also being affected by that problem, and then it can spread and grow. And then over the course of the program, those ideas can evolve. So you sort of start with that human-centered approach to solving the problem, and then throughout the Innovator Academy, you'll go through a process of ideating or coming up with lots of different ideas for how you might solve that problem. And then from there, thinking a bit more convergently after you've thought divergently, to think about how you can experiment with some of those ideas and test them out or prototype them, and see what would happen, and what pieces of your project do you want to start prototyping right away, and how that can lead you down to evolution and changing some of those ideas over the course of the year as your project evolves.
Awesome. Thanks, Les, for sharing that. And I have on the screen here, what might your vision fall under, right? And so we hope you're thinking all across the spectrum of your own context, whether that's culture, technology, training or PD, teaching, learning, and assessment. Maybe it's funding and sustainability or community outreach. But the community really benefits from having a wide array of visions and projects, because each one of them, we hope, are accessible and replicable to other educators around the world, so that either folks can join in on your idea, or they can use a resource to replicate that in their own classroom. So the more wide of an array of solutions that we have, the broader our community certainly is for it. Cool. So we did this last time and thought it was a pretty helpful exercise. And since we have our great innovators here today on the back channel, hopefully they can help. But I'm going to go ahead and just have the timer go for a couple minutes. And if you want to share in the back channel, if you're brave enough to share what this vision is that you're initially thinking about, and seek any feedback you have on it, or ask any questions. But feel free, thinking of what Leslie mentioned about your user, about a problem that they might be facing, go ahead and throw that into the back channel right now. And panelists, if you can share what you think or any ideas that you have, go ahead. Great, we have 2 minutes left, everyone. Keep those ideas coming in. And thanks, Jeffrey and Innovators, for maybe teasing out some more details about your initial ideas. These are all really great, guys. Just a minute and a half left or so, but I think of what Leslie mentions with falling in love with the problem and not the solution. So thinking about the base of that problem and the solution. Often, sometimes folks will come in with, they really, really want to make this app, or they really, really want to do this program, but sometimes that can lose sight of what that actual problem is that you're trying to solve in your school. So this is great to hear some of the different issues that are happening. And that way, when you come face to face in London, you can look at, be open to many different solutions for that. Just a minute left. Get in those problems and possible visions to change it or tackle it.
Hey, Wendy, one of the questions was about the video and suggestions. And just the one thing I think, talking about framing and what it looks like, I think one of the biggest things to keep in mind is just to show your passion and make sure that it comes across what you're trying to achieve. It's not necessarily the quality as far as graphics of the video, it's more the content of it and what you're trying to achieve.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeffrey. Okay, last chance, just 20 seconds left. Get in those, any other questions you might have for the innovators, particularly on your vision and creating that deck or video as well. But really, really great different ideas coming out here for sure. And as you're looking for that, 5 seconds left, get it in. Awesome, thanks guys. Keep those coming in if you want, and innovators, you can reply to them, or you're welcome to share Twitter handles or anything to keep this conversation going, because the exciting thing is, regardless of this program, hopefully you're patched into 2 different communities to work on this project with or without this program, right? I think you guys are all working towards innovative projects and solutions at your school every day. As Donnie mentioned earlier, we're doing creative stuff every day. But you can certainly stay in touch with everyone under the hashtag #GoogleEI on Twitter. So stay tuned there and follow these folks and these innovators to keep your idea growing as well. Cool. Okay, we're going to jump into just a few more questions about the vision and the innovation project itself, right? So just to clarify, you don't have to have an actual project in play when you apply, right? We're just starting with that idea and that vision. So I'm going to ask the panelists now, what if you have more than one idea for an innovation project, asks Richard J. You may be having a hard time deciding right now and committing to one, or feeling like this is the this is what I have to do for the next year. Do any of the panelists want to share any insights for Richard and his question about deciding, or maybe you want to pursue two different things at once, or what that might look like?
Well, I think it just kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, is that I think the best thing to choose is the one you think you're going to be most passionate about. It might not be the one that's going to be the easiest or hardest to do, but the one that you're going to be able to carry through is the most important. So I think really believing in what you're doing is the most important. So if there's one that you believe in further or a little bit more, that's what I would go with.
I would also add that just to know that you can change your mind. So if you get to the Innovator Academy and you start to go through the process, you can pivot and decide that you want to go back down another path, or maybe combine some elements of your other idea into your next project. So like Wendy said earlier, so you don't need to be sort of tied to the project. You actually don't want to be too married to your idea, because it might change. So opportunity for that.
Another consideration, because I've seen this happen with many of the innovators who come in, is consider your position and where you want to go. Because sometimes you come in and you're in this current position knowing that maybe you want to apply for a different position, or you might be doing something different next year. Since it's a 1 year kind of process, knowing and thinking ahead to your future will help you to decide which project might fit you better in that current situation to work on. Because if you change jobs, you might not be able to do a classroom kind of project, because maybe you're in an instructional role position. So just even thinking about where you're headed would help.
That's really great feedback, Sandra. I think it's really interesting to see the different career mobility and you know, what's happened to innovators after they've you know, they've gone down a project path, for sure. A really great example is one of our coaches, like James Sanders, who was a coach for us in Colorado this year, but was at the Atlanta Innovator Academy and had an idea about what if you know, students were to do an escape room, and but for curriculum, and now is working full-time on just Breakout EDU. So that's a really good example of how your role might shift. And you know, when you're thinking of your innovation project, it could be something that has to do with classroom teaching at the moment, but then maybe it changes as you go work for Future Design School like Leslie, or you know, follow different paths, or you know, go keynote like Donnie comes and does at different summits and conferences. So this all changes, right, based on how your context changes. So really great examples, guys. Cool. We have a few minutes left. Let's look at a couple of other projects. Richard S. Has asked, how scalable are these projects, right? So does anyone on the panel want to take a shot at the difference of scalability? Does it have to be, you know, something that changes the entire educational system right now? Can it be a smaller scale? Anyone want to take a shot at what the scope of a project could be, and maybe your own projects or projects that you've been mentoring or coaching on?
Yeah, I'll chime into that one. So, you know, I've mentored Justin Burke-Bickler, who he fell in love with the idea of Breakout EDU about 1.5 years ago. And he realized that he didn't have a kit yet in his classroom. So he got the idea, he had Chromebooks, to what if I figured out a way to create a digital version of Breakout EDU in the classroom. So he just put a form on a Google site with data validation on some of the questions, put some hints on the site, and somehow once he got accepted to the Innovation Academy, that turned into his project. And since he's got that started, he's had close to 100,000 people who have played his games. Close to 30,000 people have finished some of his games that he's put together. So, you know, there's really no limit to, like, moonshot thinking wise, like how large these projects can go. But again, you know, that's not to say that they all have to be like these, you know, I don't like the word, but, you know, like game changers in education. There's definitely some which you can bring directly to your district that will impact there as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Donnie. And that helps keep, I think, projects within reach, and you never know, if you start with a smaller scale at, at your school, and then take those steps to broaden its impact. And that's a lot of what the Google for Education Certified Innovator program does, is allow to, post it on, the Google for Education Transformation Center, and allow other teachers access to hear about it and to increase that impact. So even if your initial idea doesn't have a huge impact, it certainly can and will. And to be active as an innovator, you keep innovating. So this project may be finished in a year, and then something else in your new role inspires you or sparks you to work on, and you get support to work on a new idea as well. So always evolving, just like our own practice and in our own classrooms, for sure. Cool. And Jenny H wants to know, what do you wish you'd known before you applied?
That's a really good question. I think just knowing that whether you get in or you don't, there are so many strong applicants, and that your learning doesn't need to stop whether you were there or not, because there are so many great places for us to connect. G+, we've got Twitter, and I think just keep striving to be better every day, and you'll eventually get there.
I think for me, it's that the academy doesn't mean you have to be Google Ninja. Like, it's not, academy is not about being more technical in Google. And it's actually the people there that make the Innovation Academy really, really worthwhile to attend, and the experience of being able to be a part of a group of people who are truly excited about innovating and making education better. And that is the key to this whole thing, that it's not about any technical platform. It's about making education better, and our ideas and how we can collaborate together as a group. And so having known that, I would have gone into it with a different posture and tried to know my cohort a little bit better. So that's what I wish.
Awesome. Thanks, Sandra. Thanks, Donnie, for sharing. We do have, what was your best experience of the project? How has it helped you both in school and in the classroom? So Keith J has asked that. Anyone want to share maybe their best experience of both, either your own innovation project you worked on, or a project that you're helping support? How do you guys think being a part of it has helped you both in school and the classroom? I saw Donnie share, the massive change that's happened in Kentucky. Anyone else want to share your best experience of your innovation project or your innovators that you've worked with?
I'm happy to share. I think that the best experience for me has been this network of teaching me too. I'm, like, as we speak right now in a Google chat, talking with people from my cohort as a large group, and then some of us are working together in small groups and collaborating on different things, and we sort of start to see each other around, but then also really support each other. People are always kind of reaching out and asking for help with things or for advice, and everyone is so generous in sharing their expertise and their insight into different things. So it really creates this sort of really strong support network for you as a teacher, and helps you see beyond your own school or your own district where other interesting things are happening, and just really opens up your these.
Thanks, Leslie. Yeah, it for sure is one of the #1 things that we just had the 10-year anniversary of the Google for Education Certified Innovator program, and it was the #1 thing that folks point out as a value to the program, for sure. And I see a question in the chat, Stephen asking, any chance there will be other cohorts this year London dates are a bit hard. So yeah, you do have to physically be there, which makes the Academy sometimes a challenge, but it is a year-long program, right? But if you stay tuned on the Google EI hashtag and at certifiedinnovators.com, more announcements of cohorts will be made there. So stay tuned for 2017. And just as a final word of advice is, to keep going. We've had some innovators who have applied 2, 3, 4 times, and to this program and others, and keeping at it, and tweaking and changing things, or giving it a go and applying again is so important to you never know what particular makeup it might be, because there can only be 34 or so per cohort. So sometimes there's many folks who are very qualified to join, for sure. So keep at it, for sure. And then I think we've already chatted a bit about mentors assisting in the development. I think we've shared a couple of really wildly successful innovator programs as well. So thanks, Amanda, for those questions in both the back channel and in the RSVP. And then we just shared a few other cool examples of projects that are going on. We also shared a link to the cohort, Meet the Cohort, so you can see the 2016 cohorts last year and get a taste of what their projects were. And also looking on the hashtag or on the Google for Education Transformation Center, or just looking online if you have an idea, searching and just seeing, is anyone else doing something similar, that I could either join with, or should I shift what my solution might be if there's somebody out there in the education sphere working on something similar. So just a few final examples. This is classroombridges.com from Katie Seamer from 2016. Check that out for some a cool connection. This is Shalana Sturgis from South Africa, who was part of our cohorts in 2016 as well, for a more of a student-based project. So all sorts of different kinds of projects. So all of the ones that you've shared in our back channel, all super applicable, and we encourage you all to keep working on that vision, and you have a couple weeks left to submit it, right? And go for it. If you have any other questions to throw in, please put those in the back channel. I'll stick around in that back channel for a bit. If you put a question into the RSVP form, and we didn't get to it today, we'll try to get back to you via email to get your questions answered. And here's just some final strategies. Get your level 2. Be googly and let your passion shine in your video and your deck. Be specific. Don't get discouraged. And any final parting words from our panelists?
I guess just feel free to reach out to any innovator you know, even if you don't know them. If you reach out to them, I'm sure out of all the innovators I know that they would be glad to support you guys.
Thanks, Sandra. And thank you to all of you guys, our innovators joining us today. Thanks for taking time out of your schedules. Thank you to Sandra, to Leslie, to Jeffrey, to Donnie, and also to Andrew, who had to pop out for an event. And thank you to Becky for supporting this panel and for supporting the program. Any final words, Becky, as everyone in the chat is beginning to think about applying?
Yeah, I guess I just want to say good luck. In my few years of managing this program, it really is such a fine line between people who get accepted and people who don't get accepted, due to just, our ability to support you throughout the 12 months. We do have to limit the number of people that get accepted per cohort. But, the reality is, like, the difference between most of the people who get in and a lot of the people who don't get in is very, very small. So like Wendy said before, if it doesn't work out this time, please apply to the next one. We'll have events in North America, in Australia, New Zealand, in Europe this year, and possibly more regions. So keep on the lookout for more dates.
Thanks, Becky, and thanks for the final words of encouragement. everyone on the chat, we will see you online, and wishing you the best of luck on your applications. Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of the week.
Bye, all. Good luck.
Good luck, everyone.
Have fun.